Happy Halloween!
That's why you asked if I was recording.
Yep.
It's not good since Halloween.
Yes.
It is. Are you trick or treating?
I know.
Oh no.
I feel like my house is gonna get too people in it.
I feel like I definitely have way too much homework to go trick or treating.
I like your sweatshirt. Thank
Okay, so the only thing I didn't talk about, that I think I didn't talk about, was velocity.
you. Yes.
Okay. So, this will be our last notes, and then I'll go over some homework problems or. Okay, velocity is just displacement over time. Okay, so when you're finding this, it's the same thing as finding the derivative. Okay, find the values, just like what we've been doing, you're finding the slope of that line, it's the displacement over time. So it's the same formula as, well, you can use either one you want. So velocity of whatever that time is, so if it says a line velocity at 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, okay? You can either find the velocity, this is the one function. Oh, I forgot the limit, sorry. The limit. Okay, or you can use the other function, which is the limit as h goes to 0 of f of a plus h. Okay, either one works. Do you guys have a preference?
The top one.
Second one, top.
So when
The
the
top
F
one
over
is-
A go after the V, A, or
Right
before?
where it's at. I was waiting to write it too.
This is the most needy class I think I've ever taught.
Okay, I definitely had to erase and rewrite it because it was driving me crazy, so.
Is that better?
Yes.
Lots.
No mistakes for.
Okay, so secant, when you're writing secant of something, because that's like question number 1, when you're writing the secant, of it, it's just a change between the value, so it's just, so you notice how like there's no limit here? This is your formula, so when you're doing a question, that has nothing to do with velocity. This has to do with question 1 on your homework.
Why doesn't secant have a limit?
Because the limits, when you're finding the slope, we're trying to find what the tangent of that is. The secant is just the value at that point, the change at that point inside of the graph. So, like your tangent is like this, right? But your secant could be like, if you're changing from the point to point, just here, just that change. From point to point.
It's only that one, not the other one.
Huh?
You can only use that formula.
For the secant, yeah, because the tangent, you're finding the limit as it goes to that point. Secant is the value that's already there. Okay.
I don't know if you could use equation 2 also.
Yeah, you could use equation 2, you just wouldn't actually evaluate it as h goes, well. Yeah, I think you could use the same thing, and just wouldn't evaluate it as h goes to 0.
So how do you-
But I've never tried it with equation 2.
How do you use like both points? Like for when you plug it into the equation, like where do both points go?
Okay, so the first, like the x and y, the first one is a, and the second one's f of a.
What? Like where does this one go?
Like, are you talking about like number 1
Yeah.
specifically? Okay, so what is number 1? I don't even know the problems anymore. Right, especially for the slope of the secant line, prove points. So you have point P and you have point Q. Point P is 3f of 3. And point Q is x f of x. Okay? So if I want to find the slope, it doesn't give you what the actual equations are. So the slope of the secant. Okay, if I follow this formula, this would be my, so I would have f of x. Okay, so this is my a and this is my f of a. Okay, this is your x, your f of x. So this would be f of x minus f of 3 divided by, I need x minus a, so x minus 3. That's your answer to part A. That's your slope of the secant. Because it doesn't tell you what the equation is. So we don't know what f of x is, it just gives us the points p and q. Okay, so what does part B ask you?
Find the tangent.
Find the slope of the tangent line, right? Okay, so the slope of the tangent line is when we add in the limit function. So the limit as x goes to, what was it, 3? It's the same equation, it's just now you're adding in the limit. As x approaches that number.
So how do you know the limit is 3? Because the bottom is.
Yes, because the limit, when you're talking about your formulas, it's always as the x approaches a for that first formula. Okay, use the second formula says x approaches 0. Okay, what other questions for those of you that have worked on your homework have? I didn't get to 59 and 60 yet. I ran out of time this morning.
You did that all this morning.
What answer?
Well, I didn't get here till like 6:40, yeah, I had like 20 minutes.
What answer did you get for 5?
For 5? Negative 8x plus 12. Because you're actually finding the slope of, you're actually finding the equation line, so your slope is negative 8.
Yeah, I got 8, negative 18
Do you want me to work it out?
now. Sure.
Do you want me to do method 1 or method 2?
I did method 2.
You did method 2. And Hannah, I know you have a question on this. Were you doing method 1?
No, I actually got that one.
Okay. Did you do method 1 or method 2?
Method 1.
Okay. Can I erase
Or
this?
you did method 1.
I actually did it on my own, you guys. Thanks.
Wow.
I'm gonna write these up higher so that you can. Okay, so this is definition 1. Just rewrite them up here, the same ones you already have. And then this would be to use equation 2. Just H. So. Yes. Okay, so your function is 4x minus 3x squared. I did not do it during 4x. I used method 1, so this would be 4 times a plus h minus 3 times a plus h squared. That's your f of a plus h. Minus, if you do your f of a, that would be 4a minus 3a squared. So you have so far over h?
Can we slow down a second?
Yeah.
Question 5.
Yeah.
Why did you put the 4 in front of the a plus h?
Because that was what, I just put in, instead of x, I put in, you put in a plus h. You probably did method 1.
Yeah, that's why I
Okay.
don't like that one.
Like I just did, I did method 1 on this one, but he said method 2, so I'm trying to put the same. Okay, so then if you would have distributed and FOIL and all that, you would have had on this first one, 4a plus 4h. Okay, now I have to multiply this first. Then I distribute that, would be negative 3a squared minus 6ah minus 3h squared. Okay, now that negative's gonna go both, so minus 4a plus 3a squared over h. Am I good, or you mean slow down? Everybody's okay? Okay, so then if I look at what cancels, what I have left, I would have 4h, so minus 6ah minus 3h squared over h, which would be they're all divisible by h, so 4 minus 6a minus 3h. So then if I put in 0 for h, I got 4 minus 6a. And what's my point? 2. So 4 minus 12 would be negative 8. And then you still have to write your equation.
Oh my gosh, good. So it's a slope.
It's given to you as the point's 2, negative 4. That's your slope. That's the slope of the tangent line. So then you would do y minus the y. So this is the point they gave you, 2, negative 4. So then we do y minus negative 4, which would be y plus 4, equals negative 8 times x minus 2. Did you figure out where you messed up?
Well, I put in 2 at the beginning, I think.
For the a,
Yeah.
you can only do that on this function. Because that says limit as x goes to a. This is limit as h goes to 0, so until you get rid of this, you can't put anything in for the a's. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So this would be negative 8x plus 12. My head is like hurting so bad.
I'm gonna throw up.
Huh?
Please.
If I do, I will leave the classroom.
Do you need me to hold your hair?
Yes. Don't touch it.
Don't.
Don't touch it. Okay, what other questions? Have you guys gotten any further? 7? Have you done 7?
Yeah, I tried it.
Okay, did you try using method 1 or method 2? You tried using this one? Okay, then I'll do that one.
Which one do you think is easier? Because I can wait.
I did method 1 on this one.
Okay, that's the one I like anyway.
Okay. Okay, here's the thing. I did method 1 all the way up until we got to problem 31. Because 31, 32, 33, whatever those problems were, you were just finding it at A, so you were going to leave your thing like this anyways. So that's why I did it that way. It doesn't really matter, Hannah. I'll do whichever way you want.
I like method 1. I
Okay.
like 2.
Are you guys okay if I erase this? Did you say 7?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like this stuff better? Because it's like concrete, like you know.
I still don't know how to do 2.3.
I don't know what 2.3 is.
Me either.
So pretty much all of these problems that we've been doing in math all along have limits, we just didn't know what they were.
Yes.
So like when we would plug in like for x squared minus 1 or whatever, we just didn't know that they were all approaching 0 when we plugged it in and graphed it.
Everything has a limit. Or, okay, hang on, I have everything, because sometimes the limit doesn't exist, but yes. Almost all graphs approach some number. Do you mind just get blown right there, like?
Yeah, I mean, why couldn't we have just subtly been taught that, like, all along? You know, like, why do they have to wait to calculus to bada bing, bada boom?
Well, like, well, calculus is the study of limits and derivatives and integrals, so that's probably why. I mean, I mentioned it like a little bit, like, hey, you're gonna, in pre-calc, hey, you're gonna use this in calculus next year, but it's not really part of my standards, so. Are you good?
Yeah.
No, what's wrong, Ruthie?
Right here.
Your problem is you're here. Me too, that's a huge problem I had. Okay, so if we're gonna use method one, definition one, says limit as x goes to a. This is my a, this is my f of a. Okay, if you don't trust this point, if you plug in your a to your equation, it should give you f of a. So square root of 1 is 1, so this should be a point that's true,
Why
okay?
would you not trust the point?
Well, I give,
Are you lying to me?
Now, does that y go on the other side of that? Or?
I just did
I
it.
know, I know.
I was trying to write the equation down from the book.
I was born
And I didn't write an equation, I wrote an expression, so then I made it an equation.
It's alright, Miss Whaley, we appreciate you.
You do? Still no appreciate right now. Okay, so this will be limit as x goes to 1. Okay, and it says we're gonna do f of x minus f of a. So f of x is square root of x. And then I need minus f of a, so minus 1 over x minus a, so x minus 1. Okay, so what's wrong? Why can I not plug in 1 right now?
Doesn't get 0 in the denominator.
Okay, so it gives me the denominator 0. Do you remember how to fix this?
You
Multiply by x plus 1. Or both.
Close.
X minus
Square root
1.
of
Square root of x plus 1. Okay, so anytime, here the first thing you look at, if you can rationalize the denominator to make it better. Okay? If there's a square root, you can this is called rationalizing the numerator. It's the same thing. You're using square roots to make your life better. Okay? So if this is square root of x minus 1, then you can multiply top and bottom by square root of x plus 1. It's like finally okay to have square roots in the denominator. Your whole life you've been told you can't. But if it makes things cancel, it's going to be better.
Oh, it's affecting
Okay, so here's why you would do that. So still the limit. If I distribute, this would give me x plus square root of x minus square root of x minus 1 on top in the numerator. Does that make sense, what I did? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. Now, don't distribute the denominator because that's going to make your life more complicated, and the whole goal is to get something to cancel. So we'll leave this like this. Okay, so what am I left with in the numerator? X minus 1. Does anything cool happen now?
You cancel.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Lucas,
So cool.
Lucas, you love math. Don't act like you don't. Okay, so I have 1 on top, and then I had the square root of x plus 1 on bottom. So now can I plug in 1? Yeah, because it does make your denominator 0. So then this is 1 over, well, what's the square root of 1?
1.
1, so 1 plus 1. So my slope is 1/2. But I think, are you finding the equation of the line,
Equation of the change.
of the tangent line? Okay, so you found the slope of the tangent line. So if this is my point and this is my slope, then I would have y minus 1 equals 1/2 times x minus 1. So y minus 1 equals 1/2, x minus 1/2. So then I would have 1/2 x plus 1/2. Okay, the next one I really think you're probably gonna struggle on is 13. Well, I don't know, have you done any?
Is it like those?
It's like, yeah, why don't you try, I'm gonna let you guys try that one on your own.
What,
I think you can do 13 on your own too, but I feel like you're gonna freak out if I don't talk about it, sit and get you set up.
Probably.
Are we doing 8 right now? That's number 8,
Y equals 2x plus 1 over x plus 2. And then the point is 1, 1.
X plus 2, and it's what?
1, 1 with 1.
You're welcome.
We just got it.
I mean, that would have been like ideal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is 13 asking us?
I thought we were doing
I think you're gonna do
The
it on your own.
velocity
8. Oh, okay. Okay.
When t equals 2.
Okay, so it's find the velocity when t equals 2, and I just gave you the equation for velocity this morning, which essentially is the same question, right? Okay, so if I wanna, you can use either function that you want to, but either way, you're using one of these, okay? And it's, I'm gonna use the first one. Is that okay if I use the first one?
Sure.
And you're finding when t is 2. Okay, so when t is 2, t is like your a in the function. Okay? It's like it's essentially the same thing. This is just instead of a equals 2, they put t equals 2. Okay, so I would find the limit. I'm going to get it set up for you, but I'll let you guys finish it out. You would find the limit as t goes to 2. Okay, so instead of f of x, it would be f of t. So what's the function that they give you?
40t minus 16t squared.
So it'd be 40t minus 16t squared. That's your f of x. Then I need minus, and right here I need to know what the value of f of 2 is. That's your f of a. A is the same thing as 2 here. So how would I find this? Because it's not given to you in the problem. Just plug it in and solve. So 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 16 is negative 64.
So 40t.
This is 40t?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 16 is negative 64. So 40 times 2 is 80. So 80 minus 64 would be 16. So that would be minus 16. Over what would be my denominator?
X minus 2.
So t minus 2, right? This is normally x minus 2, but this we're talking about when t goes to a value.
I thought T was A.
Bring
Hang on.
Wait.
I understand that. You're talking about when it goes to the value, we're talking about this is the value.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't know what I did the wrong
So
thing.
2 is A. Or is T A?
That's how it approaches, yes.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if you're finding the velocity, that's like finding the slope. You don't find an equation of the line after that. So when you solve this out, you're gonna get an answer, whatever this answer is, okay? This is your velocity, which is meters per second. And it can be a positive number and it can be a negative number. Positive would be an upward velocity, negative would be a downward velocity. Okay? Do you know where to go from here?
No.
Okay, write it in the standard form and factor it.
What's that?
Like negative 16t squared plus 40t minus 16. Then I can factor out a negative 8. And then I can keep factoring. Does that make sense? Into 2 binomials. Yes, no? Like multiply to get 4, add to get negative 5. Split the middle. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like algebra 1. The negative 8 stays out there, and then you split the middle. So I have -8, 2t minus 1, t minus 2.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
T minus 2 cancels.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. It's
That is a
happy.
good thing, because then you're not divided by 0 anymore.
Did you say you got excited? Is that what it was?
I do get excited when things cancel. You guys just start getting excited when things cancel too.
Yay.
No.
Where did you
Oh, wait, I
get
forgot the
the
negative eight
T
thousand
squared
five hundred.
from?
What?
Where'd you get the 2t squared?
So it would be negative 24?
Pull out the.
Oh, I didn't, sorry, right here. -24, yes.
Oh.
Meters per second. I think it was in meters, was it feet? Did I use feet on this one? So, sorry, feet per second. I just factored, that's all I did. Because if my door's shut, I just don't know.
It's negative 24?
Yeah, because it's, you get 3, but then there's that -8 out in front. So don't forget to multiply that by that.
Oh, right there.
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys just work for the last 5 minutes or so if you want to, since I don't think a lot of you have done the homework. You should have turned in 2-6 yesterday. Okay, Miss Freeze is gonna start 2-8 tomorrow with you. And Miss Draper will finish on Friday,
I didn't turn it.
okay?
thought she wasn't gonna do that.
She will now, that's why, it got changed to today.
Cancel the two.
Okay. So if you have questions, I will finish 5960 today. If you have questions over this homework, come see me either during 7th period or another class or anytime, okay, or tomorrow, come see me. Because I don't know that Mrs. Freeze is gonna work out all these problems, because she thinks she's going on 2-8. Just put it in her, just put her in her tray.
Okay.
She won't get it till tomorrow anyways, but.
So if I just set it in the tray, then that's. yes.
I think so, it's fine, yeah. I mean, I don't think she came and picked anything up yesterday. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the video.
And like you get confused. And he told me to ask